Welcome back to Revealing Biblical Truths. Before we get started, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share, and turn on post notifications so you can see future videos as soon as I post them. In today's video, we'll be looking at 2 Kings chapters 11 through 15. When Athalia, Ahaziah's mom, saw he was dead, she arose and destroyed all the royal seed. But Jehoshaphat, his sister, took Joash, her younger brother, and stole and hid him and his nurse, so he was not slain. And he was in the temple with her for 6 years. And in the 7th year, Jehoiada got the rulers, captains of the guard, and brought them into the house of Yah, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, A third of you that shall enter in on the Sabbath shall keep watch of the king's house, and the third shall watch the gate of Sur, and the third watch shall watch the gate behind the guard. And 2 groups that shall go forth on the Sabbath, they shall watch the house of Yah, and you shall surround the king, every man with his weapon in his hand. And whoever comes in within range, kill him, and stay with the king as he goes out and as he comes in. And the captains did whatever Jehoiada said. And he brought forth Joash, and put the crown on him, and made him king. And when Athalia heard the noise of the guard and the people, she came into the temple. And when she looked, the king stood by a pillar, and the princes and trumpeters by the king, and the people rejoiced and blew trumpets. And Athalia tore her clothes and cried, Treason! But Jehoiada told the captains to take her outside and kill her, because he said, Let her not be slain in the house of Yah. And they grabbed her, and she went out by where the horses came in, and she was killed there. And Jehoiada made a covenant between Yah and the king and the people, that they should be Yah's people. And the people went into the temple of Baal, and broke it down, and broke the altars down and the idols that they broke in pieces. And they slew Mattan the priest of Baal in front of the altar. And Joash was 7 when he began to reign, and he reigned for 40 years. And Jehoash did that which was right in the sight of Yah all his days, but the high places were not taken away, and the people still sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. Then Joash said to the priests, Take all the money brought into the house of Yah, and give it to the priests to repair the breaches of the house. But after 23 years, the priests had still not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Joash called for Jehoiada the priest and the other priests, and said, Why haven't you repaired them? You will get no more money. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and bored a hole in the lid, and set it beside the altar, and the priest that watched the door put all the money that was brought in into the chest. And when they saw that there was a lot of money in the chest, they gave the money to those in charge of the temple, and they gave it to the builders and masons, and they repaired the breaches. But they didn't make any vessels of silver or gold, like shofars or snuffers or basins. Then Hazael, the king of Syria, went up and fought against Gath and took it. And he wanted to go against Jerusalem. But Joash, the king of Judah, took all his holy things, as well as the ones belonging to Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Azariah his fathers, that they dedicated, and sent it to Hazael, the king of Syria, and he went away from Jerusalem. And his servants arose, and made a conspiracy, and killed him, and his son Amaziah reigned in his stead. And Jehoahaz began to reign over the northern kingdom of Israel, and he reigned for 17 years. And he did evil in the sight of Yah, and followed the sins of Jerobaom. And the anger of Yah was kindled against Israel, and he delivered them into the hand of Hazael the king of Syria, and into the hand of Hazael's son Ben-Hadad the son of Hazael. But Jehoahaz sought Yah, and he listened to him, for he saw the oppression of Israel, because the king of Syria oppressed them. And even after he gave them a savior to overthrow the Syrians, they still kept sinning and following false gods. And Jehoahaz died, and Joash his son reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Joash the king of Judah, Joash the son of Jehoahaz began to reign over Israel. And he reigned for 16 years, and he did evil in the sight of Yah, and he didn't stop from doing all the sins of Jeroboam. And this Joash died, and Jeroboam his son reigned in his stead. Now Elisha was sick, and was about to die. And Joash the king of Israel came down and cried, and said, O my father, the chariot of Israel. And Elisha said, Take a bow and arrow. And he said, Open the window eastward and shoot. And he shot, and he said, This is the arrow of Yah's deliverance. for you shall smite the Syrians. And he said, Take the arrows and shoot the ground. And he shot 3 times. And Elisha was angry with him, and said, You should have shot 5 or 6 times, because you would have destroyed Syria. But you will not, you will only beat them twice, and they will still remain. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the Moabites invaded the next year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that they threw his body into Elisha's grave, and his body touched Elisha's bones. And he was miraculously resurrected and stood on his feet. But Hazael, king of Syria, oppressed Israel. And Yah was gracious to them because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them. So Hazael died, and Ben-Hadad his son reigned in his stead. And Joash, king of Israel, attacked Ben-Hadad 3 times, recovering the cities of his fathers had lost to Hazael. And in Judah Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash in Israel, saying, Let us meet face to face. And Joash sent a letter back, saying, You have smitten Edom, but why meddle with me, as you will get hurt? But Amaziah would not hear. So Joash went up to meet him. And Judah lost to Israel, and they fled away. And Joash took Amaziah and came to Jerusalem, and broke down the wall, and took all the silver and gold of all the vessels in the house of Yah, and the treasuries of the king's house, and hostages, and returned them to Samaria. And Amaziah lived after the death of Joash 15 years, and they made a conspiracy against Amaziah, and he fled to Lachish, but they found and killed him there. And the people who took Azariah, who was 16 years old, and they made him king instead of his father Amaziah. And in Israel, Jerobaom the son of Joash reigned for 41 years, and he did evil in the sight of Yah, and didn't stop his father's sins. Yet Yah said he would not blot out the name of Israel from under heaven, but he saved them. And Jeroboam died, and Zechariah his father, his son, reigned in his stead. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Azariah, son of Amaziah, began to reign in Judah at 16 years old, and he reigned for 52 years. And he did right in the sight of Yah, except the high places were not removed, and the people still sacrificed and burnt incense on the high places. And Yah smote the king, so that he was a leper until he died. So Azariah died, and Jotham his son reigned in his stead. And Zechariah reigned over Israel 6 months, and he did evil in the sight of Yah, as his fathers had done. And Shallum, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and slew him, and reigned in his stead, and he only reigned for 1 month. Then from Menahem came and slew him, and reigned in his stead. Then Menahem smote Tipsah and all the men who lived there, because they wouldn't accept him. And he reigned for 10 years in Samaria, and he did evil in the sight of Yah. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against him, but Menahem taxed the people, and gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver as a bribe, and Pul left him alone. And Menahem died, and Pekahiah his son reigned in his stead. And Pekahiah reigned for 2 years, and he did evil in the sight of Yah. But Pekah his son of Remaliah, the captain of his, conspired against him, and killed him. And he reigned in his stead. And Pekah reigned for 20 years, and did evil in the sight of Yah. And Hoshea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, and slew him. And he reigned in his stead. And Jotham the king of Judah reigned for 16 years, and he did right in the sight of Yah, except the high places that were not removed, but the people still sacrificed and burned incense in the high places. And in those days Yah began to send Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, king of Samaria, against him. And Jotham died, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. And that concludes this video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, Shalom.